Here we go. This is a multi-purpose transformable rocket, and basically there's new art here. This is kind of like a common law patent. Basically there's two stages to this rocket. You have the first stage, the second stage, which is here. You have the first stage, which is here, okay? And what you're gonna notice is that around the side of it are hemicircular. Before the rockets were like this, and they had solid rocket boosters that were like cylinders, okay, like this. And what mine are different. Basically, mine are designed to go around the rocket. So this is looking at from the bottom, okay. This is your liquid rocket engine, right? This is where flames would come out this way, but here is a solid rocket booster that goes around the sides of it, you see? And then, okay, so that's it right there. And basically, instead of it being like this, that's your solid rocket booster right there. And then before, they looked like this, where you had two solid rocket boosters like that, which, you know, the fire would come out this way. And my design, my invention is to create ones that wrap around the rocket, and the, you know, they're what so this is basically how it looks. And what it does, this is the first stage, and what it does is it allows for more of the, especially on the second stage, it allows for more of the, instead of in a typical rocket, this would be the only part that actually had the payload. This would be all inside. There'd be tanks of fuel. And now, because you have the solid rocket boosters on the outside, you only need fuel. If this is, you know, a solid rocket booster on the outside or whatever, okay, you don't really only need about this much of it to be liquid fuel, or better yet, better yet, it's held in two tanks, like right here. You know, here are your rocket boosters, your liquid, and then the tanks are actually inside. One of them's here, there's your liquid oxidizer, there's your fuel. Okay, so actually that's the rocket booster on that end over there. Sorry about that. So, and then here you are, here is, you know, they fold out, and then your tanks are in here, and basically they take up half of the reason why it's round is so it's aerodynamic, okay? Half of it are tanks, the other half is living and working area. So if you see right here, once it goes into orbit, this would be the first stage to push it up, okay? And then once it gets up to a certain distance, the first stage would break off. Then the second stage would go, and these solid rocket boosters would push it, okay, even further, almost pretty much to orbit. And then they would be jettisoned off totally, okay? And like and then you just have the inner tube, and then what it does is when it's in orbit, it opens up. So a hemicircle opens up, and then what happens is when you have the hemicircle open up, okay, like this, this creates a cargo bay right here where you could put things in and take it to, for example, the moon. It's a lunar shuttle. And then the people actually live and work in here, like the ISS. They live in this part right here. And then it's designed to go up in 2 stages, okay? 2 of them going up together. What would happen is one side would go one side, and then they would lock together like this. They both go into orbit. Then once in orbit, they connect together. And then right here is where they would connect together. Okay, and then this is where people would go in and out from one side to the other. And you could have one for, different sleeping, living, and then one for your science and experiment suite and stuff like that. But basically, and then you have it to where this side opens up, cargo goes here, and then this side opens up and cargo goes here. And then what happens is this right here is your liquid rocket boosters right here. Okay, and then this side right here facing the nose cone is your liquid rocket boosters. And that way, when it needs to go, this does a burn and this does a burn, and it pushes it this way. And then in order to send people up, the noses actually, I can show you, basically, this would be, it would open up, the nose cone opens up, and then the people that were sent up on another rocket would come in, and this would be the command module right here. And it's designed like this because this is how they're going to go back down. They come up in this thing, they go into the shuttle, then they can go and live and work in this area here. And then you can have 2 crews come up from each side of the lunar shuttle. And then when it's time for them to leave the shuttle and go back to Earth, they go back in the command modules. Okay, and then jettison off, go back down to Earth. And then when it's time to go to the moon, how do they go down into the moon is these modules here, these lunar delivery devices is what I'm calling them. Okay, they don't have to be aerodynamic because there's no atmosphere on the moon. Okay, and they're designed to go down and land on the moon. And the way people get into them is basically the lunar shuttle goes around. Okay, you have the Earth here, you have the moon over here. Now this is your lunar this is your lunar shuttle, and it goes around the Earth, okay? But then, what's not going around the Earth and collecting supplies and people coming up to it, okay, it'll leave and go to the moon, okay? And then when it's at the moon, this little thing will detach and it'll go land on the lunar surface. Okay, can you see that? So that it'll go to the moon, and then the part that detaches, and then this is what it looks like here. Okay, This is the part that actually goes down and lands on the moon. And the people are inside it. And then you ask, okay, once it lands down on the moon, how does it get back up? Well, this is the escape vehicle. So within the lunar lander is the escape vehicle, which is right here. Okay, and there's only 1/6 of the gravity. So you need a very small command module to get in that and then take it up. Then once you take this and you go up to and you see there would be a hatch here for how the people got from the shuttle into the lunar modules right here. Here's the hatch, and there would be underneath that there'd be docking ports for the people to go down into the lunar landers. And then once they're in there, this would close and detach, and then it would go and land down on the moon. You know, there's your rockets and whatnot. And then when it's time to leave, this is what I call the lunar. And then ahead of time, you might have a whole suite of escape modules that just go and leave there, are brought there ahead of time before people even go there. The lunar escape vehicles or exit vehicles, you could have up to 3 of them in one habitat. You see, it's a habitat, but in a portion of it, it has the escape vehicle. Okay, and basically, when they're done then there'll be a little door right here, a hatch that they would go through, go from here into there and inside there. And this was just another habitat that is made out of plastic and a work area for outside for digging and stuff on the moon, mining. And it was just like to make it airtight. It'd be made out of Kevlar and Kevlar and plastic, like like polyurethane, and then Kevlar to make it strong. And that's basically so that you could have an area outside the lunar lander and habitat in one. And initially, the landers are going to have to serve as the habitats. And eventually, once you have enough habitats down there, you can create, when they're not in the habitat, they're out working and they're digging and they're creating long-term habitats. And they're going to have to make they're going to use the regolith to make like little bricks out of molten regolith. And those will connect together. And those will make the long-term habitat. Okay, so but basically this is the idea of it so far. It's multi-purpose transformable rocket. This is kind of like the SLS, okay, but instead of only having 2 solid rocket boosters, it has more that can go around the whole outside of it, okay? And then the half of it is, liquid rocket boosters and fuel, and the other half is living quarters. And it just totally changes the dynamics of how much space you have to work with when you go into orbit. So this is very important indeed. It changes everything. So I just wanted to make that and show people. And then, this is your liquid rocket engine, right? This is where a transverse slice of it, okay? And then, this is where people would live and work, and then you have all your instruments here, and whatnot, and on the sides, instruments, stuff like that. But what this part's designed to do is to open up and create a cargo bay, okay, which holds the lunar landers, okay? And it's designed for each one to carry about 2 lunar landers, and then on the other side, another 2. So total 4 lunar landers per trip, and it can either be cargo only, or cargo and humans, or humans habitats. And the lunar landers are designed to live in for, and the lunar landers in and of themselves have their own design to them, and they're like, the outside of it will be made out of solar panels. Okay, so the 2 weeks that it's in the sun, it's charging up the batteries, and it's, and then during the night, the fuel that it uses is hydrogen and oxygen. And during the night cycle, it puts the hydrogen and oxygen through a fuel cell, makes electricity that keeps it warm through the lunar night, which is 2 weeks. And then after those 2 weeks, it comes back out, and then the sun's hitting it, then it electrolyzes the water to make hydrogen and oxygen, holds them in tanks and whatnot. So that's how it's designed to be. And then each one also has in it as well, for extra energy, is it has, this is a lunar lander and habitat, okay? You'd have a compartment inside it, which would have a thermoelectric generator for power, but that wouldn't be enough. That'd be just enough to kind of get it through. You'd also need the solar panels combined with the thermoelectric generator. So then in the lunar night, the thermoelectric generator with the hydrogen and the oxygen, making electricity to heat the thing. And, because you don't want it to totally freeze over the lunar night, because there's things that once it gets that cold, the batteries will fail, other systems would fail. You want it to be kept at a reasonable temperature through those 2 weeks. So you have to design that in there to where it has a source of energy to keep it. And that's what I'm going to get into too on another video. So just wanted to show this. This is your multi-purpose transferable rocket. So this is also a common law patent. I haven't had time to patent some of this stuff in here. This is very important. The shape of these solid rocket boosters is very important, and that changes everything. And I'm going to be patenting that and going to be licensing it to space companies for pretty reasonable amount. It's not for profit. It's all to support human presence, permanent human presence on the moon. That's what all this is for. So all the proceeds will go to that. But I need to protect my intellectual property, because otherwise you get taken advantage of and whatnot. And then this is, you can see like this is the long ways of it. And then you see inside here are the tanks. One has oxygen, one has hydrogen, okay? And this is the booster right here. This is the fire. And then this is a booster here. So that's what it would use to leave Earth's gravity. This is Earth. To go to the moon. You'd use the boosters and whatnot. These are command modules that the people come up in. Okay? They attach the opening here, they come in here. And when it comes time for them to go back down to Earth, they get in here. And then this is the pod that goes back into Earth. That's the heat shield. It's made for going back into the atmosphere. But this part would stay up and continue circling around the Earth. and then it can be used again. And these fuel canisters are made to be refilled here. Okay, so they're refuelable. They're right here. There's oxygen, hydrogen on one side, oxygen, hydrogen on the other side. Okay, and the same thing here. Here you have another. This is the other one. That's, they're upside down. They're the same thing, but they're designed to fit together like this. These two sides will attach together, and the only thing different is the rocket boosters are on this, next to this side for this one, and then for this one they're next to the cone. So there's a direction. It's going this way. It's actually the craft is going that way. It's going this way. And those rocket boosters will fire at the same time. And then you'd have some other mechanisms to make it to where it can roll as well and go on its side. That's when it's on its side, that's when the two will come out from this side, and then two come out from the other side, and those will go and land down on the moon. And I think it'd be designed to have about 3 in each one, so you could have approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, you could have up to 12 people on the moon at once. And so that's pretty much that. So I'll make a video explaining that.